You may have noticed there was a slight time change there. I announced it for 2 o'clock. And then there were a few snags, so I pushed it back to 2:20. And I promised I was going to be on time for 2:20. But then I realized that if I start a live on my phone, I can only do it on my phone. I thought I could do it on my laptop. So I was on time at 2:20 on my laptop, but then I had to regroup and get it done on my phone, because if you start on your phone, apparently you have to do the live on your phone. So if anybody could please tell me whether or not you can hear and see me. I see some comments are already here. Hi, Faith. I'm going to go up there and say hi to everyone. Hi, Faith. You haven't been getting the notifications. That's interesting. I wonder if I'm doing something wrong. Hi, Jana. Happy New Year to you also. Hi, Annabelle from Germany. 10 p.m. Yes, now 10:25. Oh, Jana also from Germany. Jana, what part of Germany are you in, if you don't mind sharing? Oh, yep. Annabelle's from Hanover. She said that. South of Bremen. Oh, I think I got your... Jenna, was that your Christmas card I just got last week? I got a Christmas card from Bremen, and I'm wondering, that must have been your family. Hi, Bianca. Happy New Year to you also. 4 p.m. in Ohio. Well, now 4:25. So, yeah, all the northern Germans. You can see and hear me. Thank you. And then... a thumbs up from somebody who just has a dash for their username. So I don't know who you are, but welcome. Hi, Suzanne, SJ, and thank you. Oh, and thank you for the Christmas card, Jen. I have not sent one back yet. It came in like I think it was Christmas Eve that we got it. So I still have about 15, 20 cards to respond to. And I will do that hopefully this week or early next week. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining. So... we're still sick. I still sound bad. The kids are still coughing. There's runny noses. I'm afraid we're all going to look like Rudolph at this wedding on Saturday with, like, you know, you get the red nose when you have a cold. So we are on the mend and nobody has gotten worse. Hi, SS. Glad you're catching the live. Yeah, it's been later than usual. I'm hoping that is not what's messing with you. Splendid from South Africa. Hello and welcome. And hello, Sons of Thunder. So we're still getting over it. I have not had a chance yet to buy a dress, which is really bad. This was like procrastination of the worst kind. Hi, Oriel. And I really only have today, and I can't do it today and tomorrow and Friday. And I'm not sure if it's going to happen. I might have to use something that... I have a dress that's like a fancy dress that I've only worn once before. And there's no pictures of it. So maybe that'll work. I'm not happy with my hair, as you can tell. I'm fussing with my hair. There. Getting old, my hair doesn't do what it would do. Oriel book reviews. Yes, I'm actually... I need to. Yes, I need to do. I listened to 2 different books today, and both are recommendable. I just... So the biggest hindrance between me and putting out more and better content on the channel is time. And time to record it, and more importantly, time to edit it, which is why shorts kind of work, because I don't have to edit those, and why the lives work, because I'm not editing those. Annabelle, you don't think it's a problem? I mean, I'm not Kate Middleton. I guess I can wear the same dress twice, although she does reuse her dresses. And I don't think anybody follows my fashion style like that. So it's difficult to... put out better content here because the time necessary to edit. I don't know how long are you going to be able to put up with my coughing. To the person asking about the wedding, it's this Saturday, so it's still coming. And what can I call you? Because I'm just going to have to call you Dash for now, because your screen name appears just as a dash on my end. So if you want to share a name with us, I can use that. I'm going to get a cough drop before it gets worse. There's one left. Great. Literally one left. I think I've mentioned this before. These are the only good cough drops. Don't fall for the other flavors. Don't fall for the sugar-free kind. Get the OG. These are made in Switzerland with, yeah, see, manufacturer product of Switzerland down there. with real Swiss herbs. This is the only thing that works. My kids generously left me one. So, anywho, now I'm gonna choke on this. Watch me choke on this. So yeah, I'm trying to take my channel in more directions. I would really like to share cooking videos because that would drive more traffic to my cookbooks ultimately, and also the ad revenue. I'm not trying to focus on too many biblical issues just because I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, it ties into all my opinions, but I don't like sounding preachy. I don't like to talk about marriage and child rearing so much because number one, I don't have it figured out. Just ask my family. And number two, I don't know. I feel like if I had it figured out and then I started talking about it, that would like guarantee that I jinxed myself. Now I look like I had dental surgery, but that's just a cough drop. So I like to focus more on like the homemaking aspect, the natural health aspect, just things that come with having a large family. And the reason why is because it's one of the ways that I can make income from home. Why do I want to make income from home? Not to pay the bills. My husband has always said that whatever I make is mine. But I really want to take another trip to Germany. Yes, it's that bad. And I'm so homesick already. And I think it has to do with the time of year, also Christmas time. Everybody gets homesick, of course. But I have a lot of relatives there. And I had such a good time with them, and I would love to see them again. I would love for my kids to be around them more. It's just a nice place to go to get out of the desert. And I would absolutely love if I were able to go every year or every other year for a month. And it's just simply not realistic simply because of the cost. If you had to come up with a number in your head, how much would it cost for one person to buy a ticket, rent a car, get accommodations, and all the expenses associated with traveling for 1 month? You know, take that number and multiply that by 10, because that's how many I would be paying for. So I'm trying to expand the channel because it's one way that I can make income from home and save up for that, which is where also these memberships come in. So for those of you that are members, thank you so much. That is a huge contribution, and that's where the membership dues go. They go towards, I have a special account set aside just for Family Fun Fund, which, you know, it took me 15 years to save up the money for a Germany trip last year, and I would love to repeat it again in less than 15 years, but if it happens again, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So thank you for those of you who have the membership. If you don't have the membership, let me just do a quick promo here. If you are a member at the sponsor level, you can see these videos every week, and it also gives you access to any past videos. And I believe you can see the past videos, like just what they are, but you can't watch them. So you can kind of get a feel for if that's something that you would be interested in having access to. And you join by, if you go to the main page of my YouTube channel, so that's youtube.com/Are They All Yours, there should be under where the video shows, there should be on the bottom right a button that says join. And when you click on that join button, it gives you two options. You can join as a sponsor or you can join as a supporter. And you have to be at the sponsor level to see the videos, which is $10 a month, I believe. And basically the reason for that, as much as I would love to provide this content for free, I just know that if I don't have that accountability of knowing people have paid, whether you feel sick or not, or whether you're busy or not, because I'm always busy and somebody's usually needing me, I still make sure to make time for that one video every week. Sometimes it gets pushed back, but I think I've only skipped it once or twice in the 2 years that I've been doing it. So I also share a little bit more personal information because I feel like if there's a financial aspect to it, there's a bit of a firewall. So every troll on Facebook can't just see what I share on there. And that's the other level that comes in, the other membership level, that's supporter. They can also see when I sometimes I put a post in the community feed or I share some pictures and things like that. So a lesser level, and you don't have access to the videos, but you get some more personal information that I'm sharing. Desiree, yes, with the grandkids. I definitely want to do that too. So anyway, that was the little promo for the membership. This does start a new season 4. I do it every 6 months, so this runs through June. And the first, it's usually on Wednesdays, and the first one of the month is always public. So today, it being the first Wednesday of January, it's accessible to all, which also means I share a little bit less personal information. So first of all, Happy New Year. And for those who haven't heard, our oldest son is getting married this Saturday. And I'm really excited. It's not often that I get all my kids together in one place. And all the other relatives are going to be there too. And there's going to be lots of opportunities for great pictures. And I'm sure I'll be sharing some, hopefully publicly if the older kids agree. But I will also share more personal ones in here for the members of the channel. My second son, Isaac, is already married. Him and his wife got married in April. So I feel like I'm moving into a whole new stage in life, and it's exciting, but I still also have little kids in the house. I still have a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old. So I still am in the trenches with the little kids while also, you know, trying to look out for the big kids. So it's interesting. I keep waiting for motherhood to get easier, and I'm not there. I'm not sure that it ever will. I think it just changes. So anyway, I wanted to talk about body care and body care products. And the idea for it came from the fact that people frequently ask me what I do for body care or body care products, skincare products. But the reason why I shied away from it is because the answer is really underwhelming and there's not really a whole lot to talk about there. But then the more I thought about it and some other things I saw, I figured, you know, there's probably going to be enough to talk about. Hi, Nikki. Thanks for joining. So that's the topic for today. And one funny thing I saw, and I'm going to have to look on my computer for this because I took a screenshot and I wanted to share this. This is what pushed me over the edge of doing this for the topic today. That I was in a group on Facebook. And in this group on Facebook, it's kind of like a natural healthy moms group, like Crunchy Mom type thing. I don't want to say the name of the group, and I'm not going to name the people here. But somebody asked in the group, and they said, what is like the cheapest soap that I can get that's healthy? She said, I have about $1. Don't laugh. I told Steven the story. My kids are going to start laughing hysterically when I start reading. She basically said that, you know, they can't afford much right now. They had to make their money last, and what could be the healthiest soap that they could find for about $1 per bottle until they got their finances where they wanted them again. A lot of people gave a lot of great answers. The best answer, personally, I felt is Castile soap. Because Castile soap, a little bit, can be diluted with a lot of water. I mean, you can refill soap bottles with that. And several people even suggested Castile soap with a foam dispenser. So you could buy like a Dollar Tree soap in the foam dispenser, dump it out or use it up if you want to, and then refill it with water and Castile soap. And that foaming action makes it to where a little bit of soap goes a really long way. And so that kids don't just like, you know, 3 pumps and they've just like emptied half the bottle. That was a great answer. And then somebody suggested, well, a bottle of Castile soap is like $10. So if you really literally only have $1, you could buy a sample bottle for just a couple of bucks or maybe even cheaper. Or the Castile soap bar, exactly. You can even grate those up and then dissolve them to make Castile soap. So somebody suggested use that, and that'll get you through till payday or whatever. Great suggestions. Well, this lady came on there. Stephen, you're going to be banished to the game room if you laugh. This lady came on there and she said, you don't need any soap. All you need is water. And she said, our body contains oils that protect us. Unless our hands are visibly dirty, we don't use soap. I haven't washed my hands, unless they are visibly dirty, in about 1.5 years. We don't believe the germ theory lies. So, some people agreed with it, but mostly people were kind of surprised by that. And when she was questioned about this, wait, you haven't washed your hands in 1.5 years and only if they're visibly dirty, she kind of dug in, because people are like, just because your hands are clean doesn't mean, just because your hands look clean doesn't mean they are clean, because, germ theory, like all this stuff, like you could actually look at viruses, bacteria, germs under a microscope and actually see them. Like just because they look clean doesn't mean they are clean. And she said that, nope. She says, we don't wash our hands every single time we bathroom or go somewhere. We don't believe bacteria or pathogens are the cause of disease. And she said that when somebody brought up Dr. Semmelweis, who is the one who ended childbed fever, which was a huge problem about 140 years ago, I think it was, when doctors would go between newly delivered moms and they would do pelvic exams on one after the other without washing their hands in between. And these were very unsanitary conditions to begin with. Back then, women typically birthed at home if they could afford a doctor, and only very poor women who could not afford a doctor would go to a hospital. They were like poorhouses, so they were not the healthiest mothers to begin with. And then doctors would either not wash between patients, or they would wash in a dirty basin of stagnant water between each patient, the same water, so not running water. And they would perform pelvic exams with unwashed hands, and they would cause an infection of the uterus. And because this was before antibiotics, mothers would pass away from what was called childbed fever. It had to do with childbirth, because after you give birth and the placenta detaches from the uterus, I mean, think about how large a placenta is. That's how large of a wound it leaves behind in the uterus. And yes, the uterus immediately begins tightening and shrinking, but it is a considerable wound, which is why ladies continue to bleed for weeks. And to introduce germs into that, now you have an infection just directly in your body and your uterus. That's very dangerous. And large amounts of new mothers would pass away from this entirely preventable and extremely rare disease, because they didn't have antibiotics and they didn't understand germ theory. So when somebody brought that up to this lady, she said, women and babies didn't die from germs. They were poisoned to death. So I'm not sure what kind of conspiracy theories this lady, there are some things I believe that would fall into conspiracy theory, but I think people have just gone way off the deep end. And to deny that germs and bacteria exist is crazy. And I kind of agreed with her a little bit. I mean, not her. I kind of agreed with her point very, very mildly, because I don't wash my hands with soap every time. And this is where it ties into what I wanted to talk about, and how my answer to body care and body care products is kind of underwhelming. Because my number one advice would be to use as minimal as possible. Because it is true that our body is able to regulate a lot of these things ourselves. And what I mean by go as minimal as possible, I'm not saying never use shampoo. I'm saying you don't have to shampoo morning and night. I'm saying you don't have to use a harsh shampoo. I'm saying if you can wash your hair with shampoo every 3 or 4 days, that's probably sufficient. And you could even probably go longer if you have certain genetic predispositions where, your hair doesn't get as oily. Excuse me. And it also has to do with different hormonal cycles. So like if you're on your monthly cycle, or you're pregnant, or you're newly postpartum, that would look very different from other stages of life. Excuse me. So my underwhelming answer for my body care is that I use as little as possible. And when people ask me, and I'm embarrassed to even talk about this, because I don't think I look young for my age or particularly well complected. Aside from the fact that I'm sounding like a smoker right now. But I don't use anything on my face. Like, not just do I not use makeup, but I never use body lotion. I never do anything like that. And most importantly, while I use soap for my hands and parts of my body, I never wash my face with soap. My face gets washed with water when I take a shower. And obviously I brush my teeth and I wash my hair and stuff like that. And I brush my teeth daily, I should say. with toothpaste. This is getting more awkward by the minute. But as far as my face, I don't use face wash. Certainly don't use soap. I don't use any products to clean it, and I don't use any products to then put like protective layers back on. My skin on my face and other parts of my body, you know, it is very self-regulating, and I don't feel like I need to wash my face with soap unless I like got blood splatters on me. Yeah, then I would wash with soap. So as far as my face, this is water washed, and yeah, that's all I do. No lotions, nothing. Now I do use and recommend chapstick as needed, not regularly, just like if there's sickness or you're traveling in the mountains or you're flying on an airplane or something like that. So I use that. I use shampoo and conditioner on my hair, and I use soap on my body. And again, I don't soap from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. I just soap strategically. So starting from the top down, you know, I soap certain areas, and then the soap washes over everything, but that's it. I don't put on a body lotion afterward. I do use deodorant, although I find that unless I'm newly postpartum, I can get by with using deodorant. I mean, I pretty much only have to apply it once between showers, and many times I can even get by without using it, as long as it's not summer and I didn't just have a baby. So I find that if you eat clean and live reasonably healthy, your body naturally puts out less toxins, because a lot of these things is the body pushing out toxins. So if you're not taking a whole lot, you don't have to put out as much. Now, there's a huge caveat, because of course there's genetic differences. There's also hormonal differences. So when I'm newly postpartum, or like when young ladies go through puberty, or maybe when they go through menopause, I don't have experience with that yet, the body composition changes, and you can tend to be stinkier more. So at that point, I would wash more often, use more deodorant, but I would still stay with the natural stuff. Now, let's talk some of these brands specifically. Before I get into the specifics, there's a really great website, and it's run by the Environmental Working Group, EWG. And the EWG, so you can go to ewg.org, environmentalworkinggroup.org, and then I think the / is Skin Deep. Let me check that before I say that. And I'm going to put this link into the comments. Yes, it's Skin Deep. So www.ewg.org / Skin Deep. And what you find, there's a search bar. And on the search bar, according to them, they have over 100,000 products from over 3,600 brands. And what you can do is you can type in a product. So let's put in here, I'm just going to do something generic like Dollar Tree soap. And it will bring up everything that has been entered as a Dollar Tree soap. And it will rate everything. Okay, that doesn't bring up anything. Well, if you put in Trader Joe's shampoo, it brings up several things. So let's do that. Trader Joe's shampoo. And it will rate everything from 1 to 10, 1 and 2 being green, 3 through 6 being yellow, and 7 through 10 being red, because they're the worst. And then above 1, so even one better than that, the best is green, like a green 0 basically, EWG verified, meaning they have put their stamp of approval on this is truly safe, and you don't have to worry about it's healthy and safe. And everything else you type in, so when I type in Trader Joe's shampoo, they have some that are rated 4, some that are rated 5. This is the tea tree shampoo, and things like that. So when you type in a specific product, it will come up with all the information, and it will give you a quick visual. Is this green? Is this yellow? Is this red? So this is a really good starting point. Now, one of the things, so before we get into the specific brands, you can just look that up here if you're new to what body care products are good or what's safe. And there's also a lot of good information on the website, just what to look for. Now, one place you can start is buying things from a health food store like Sprouts or Whole Foods or Natural Grocers or even Trader Joe's. But the problem is that there's a lot of things there that are actually not that great for you. Like, for example, you can buy fluoride toothpaste there, which we don't use, and a lot of other questionable products. But at least it's better than randomly taking something off a conventional drugstore shelf. So it's a step in the right direction. But a website like the EWG website will actually help you differentiate and weed through the overwhelming amount of products that are on the market. Now, for the babies, one brand I like to use is the Honest brand. And you can buy it at Costco here in Arizona. And I like their shampoo. I like their bubble bath, which I'm not usually a fan of bubble bath because of the chemicals. But all of the Honest products, the bath products, are rated EWG verified, which is like the highest tier of stamp of approval you can get. So I really like those Honest products, and they work great for the babies. Again, I'm not saying to give your baby a soapy bubble bath every day. I'm not even saying to bathe your baby every day. Your toddler probably needs a bath every other day. But babies, I mean, once a week is probably plenty for babies until they start crawling around. But when you give them a bath and when you do use soap, this is a great soap to use for the babies. So the Honest brand is great. A brand that I really like is the Weleda brand. It's a German brand. It's Weleda. And Weleda has a really great skincare line. And on here, their products are rated anywhere from 2 to, I think the lowest I'm seeing is like a 5. Because the data availability is limited. So I think the reason why they're rated lower is because these are made in Germany, and a lot of the products they probably don't have the ingredient list for. So a lot of the Weleda products, I really like those. And yeah, I think the ones that they have information for are rated at a 2. And everything else, it says that the availability data is limited. So that's a great brand that I like to use. This is just a really good overall general website that you can use. Now, as far as toothpaste, I already mentioned we don't use any fluoride. I've mentioned in the past that the floss we use, it's really important to us that it's not flavored and that it does not have fluoride on the floss. Don't ask me why they put fluoride on the floss, but they do. And the brand that we like to use is Dr. Tongue. Dr. and then Tongue, T-U-N-G. You can get it on Amazon, and it is like the best floss. So that's a great floss. Deodorant, because this is one of the few body care products I use. There's different brands I like, but the important thing to me is that they're aluminum free and that they contain baking soda in some way, shape, or form. Typically, the baking soda is combined with arrowroot powder to stretch it, because baking soda by itself can be really harsh. And it will typically be in a base that's made from shea butter, coconut oil, things like that. It's even really, really easy to make your own. I should do a video about that. So when I have time, I make my own, and I make like little 4-ounce canning jars of it that you then apply with your hand. But when I have to buy it ready, I buy the kind of deodorant that does not contain aluminum and does not and does contain baking soda, typically with something combined like cornstarch or arrowroot powder, just to make it less abrasive. Now, another thing that I stay away from is artificial fragrances. So anytime something says fragrance, that means it's an artificial fragrance. Because if it were an essential oil, they would say, you know, tea tree essential oil. I cannot stand anything with artificial fragrance. I'm extremely sensitive to it. It makes my neck start itching and I break out in red splotches and it drives me crazy. So I stay away from everything with fragrance. And a lot of these things are hormone disruptors. And Oriel, what you're saying that that's the only one that's been successful for you, I have to second that. Like, my homemade deodorant works better than most products on the market. And I think that the baking soda is like the critical component. So the trick is getting enough baking soda in it without making it to where it's too harsh, because otherwise your skin in your armpits, which is very sensitive, will react. But the fragrances, I mean, I've been more sensitive since I've had babies, and my babies have always been really sensitive, but that's really bad for you. Like, it just disrupts your hormones. Another thing, not really body care product, but home care, which we're going to get into a little bit too for cleaning. Excuse me. is, what was I gonna say? Those little plugins, like Glade plugins, like the foreigners are not gonna really know what I'm talking about, but here in the US, people just love plugging in these scent warmers. And they just have like pods in them that like put out smells that are supposed to smell really nice, like pumpkin spice or apple pie or whatever. But they are so bad for you. So, 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 so bad for you. Like literally, if you go to Google and you can like literally Google search people who have reported that the Glade plugins made them not be able to get pregnant. Like just the hormone disruptors coming off those Glade plugins are so severe that they can literally make it to where you don't get pregnant. And people have literally said that all they did was they threw those out and they were able to get pregnant. Okay, Oriel, I don't know how to pronounce that, but yes, that's what it is. So that's a huge one. So even when you're buying like laundry products and when you're buying home cleaning products, stay away from fragrances. Any artificial fragrance just run screaming the other way. The scented candles, yes, Sharon. And the problem is, see, the problem is kind of like with McDonald's. If McDonald's didn't taste good, okay, Oriel, xenoestrogens. Okay, thank you. I learned something. Xenoestrogens, estrogen mimickers, right? Is that what it is? So if McDonald's didn't taste good, people wouldn't be going there. McDonald's, I mean, to me, it doesn't taste good, but clearly to most people, it tastes good because they spend a lot of time with those flavors making it taste good so that people eat it. But it tasting good doesn't mean it is healthy, and it smelling good doesn't mean it is healthy. So these products can be very appealing because, you know, when you walk into, or when you have guests that walk into your bathroom and you have little boys like I do, you want to make sure that you don't have to worry about, hey, let me check and make sure my bathroom isn't smelling funky because, you know, I've got little boys. And having a plug-in in there just ensures that all the time it would smell really nice. But it's not worth the trade-off. So as somebody suggested, and these comments are coming faster than usual today, so I'm having a hard time keeping up. But as somebody suggested, you can use an essential oil diffuser, and those are wonderful, and you can use essential oils. Now you want to be safe about that. Some essential oils are not considered safe around infants, newborns, things like that. So you want to look into that. But stay away from fake fragrances. Yes, Bon Ami is great. Yeah, I agree with cleaning bleach when you have to. This is true. And yes, the enzymatic cleaners are awesome for laundry. If your laundry comes out smelling funky, you want to use an enzyme laundry detergent, or the cheapest way to do it is borax. You can add borax to your wash, to the regular wash cycle, and then you can rinse with either baking soda added to the rinse or vinegar added to the rinse, or you can alternate. You can also wash your washing machine by filling it with hot and adding liquid bleach to it. And that will clean any buildup in the washing machine, because when you get detergent combined with buildup, you get that funky smell. So you can get buildup in your laundry, you can get buildup in the washing machine. The washing machine, you would get the buildup out by cleaning it with bleach, and you can find instructions for that online. Just, you know, Google search how to clean my washing machine. There used to be a really good website. I don't know if it's still around. I'll throw it out there. One Good Thing by Jilly. And Jilly is spelled Jillee, I believe. And she had great instructions on how to wash your washer and how to wash your dishwasher. And that's how I always do it. I love all the tips that are coming from the lady with the dash. And if you said your name, I missed it. I'm still just gonna have to call you Dash, and I apologize. I like your turquoise glasses, and I just don't know what to call you. I'm sorry. So yes, another thing that I use for home cleaning, other than, I like the BioClean all-purpose cleaner that you can dilute, because like the gallon bottle, which is like $40, literally lasts us for years, because you just take a spray bottle, a cleaning spray bottle, and put like this much of the concentrate in and fill it up with water. And that gallon will last years, literally. But when all-purpose cleaner isn't Prairie, thank you. Thank you, Prairie. Okay, I can remember that. Those are not Prairie glasses, but they're cute. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't a bad joke. But when I need something that's stronger, what I absolutely love, 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 and I'm not saying this is the most natural thing, but it's old, it's been around for a long time, people have used it, is I like Windex, just the standard blue Windex. You can get it in vinegar, but I like the standard, which is basically an ammonia cleaner. And ammonia is a really good cleaner. It's been around for a very long time. It is a natural product and it gets things clean unlike anything else. So I like to use Windex around the house, and I also use the BioClean products, as somebody suggested. Those are great. And I'm not a huge fan of vinegar cleaner by itself, but it does the job. So these are just some of the natural approaches. I'm not against using bleach if you have to, you know, just don't drink it. But bleach, again, there's a lot of safe uses for bleach. One of the things that bleach is excellent for, and you be careful, don't just take a bleach bath or anything, but if you struggle with eczema and you have plaque eczema or psoriasis, plaque psoriasis or eczema, stuff like that, adding a cup of bleach to a tub of water and bathing in it is really, really good for treating eczema. You just want to have highly diluted bleach, and it works on eczema much better than any other product we've found. So that's, I'm not saying shy away from all soap. And I think when it's really important to wash with soap is when you come home from the store. You've been gone. When you walk through the front door, I think most of us have like a keen feeling, or at least I'm aware of, I haven't washed my hands, and it's kind of nagging at the back of my mind. Like, I hang up my keys, I put my glasses in the window, and then I wash with soap. And if something interrupts that process and I don't get to wash my hands right away, that stays at the back of my mind. And it kind of nags me until I go to wash my hands. And that should be the natural inclination. But every time I'm in the kitchen cooking, I do not wash with soap. Every time, like say I crack an egg, I don't wash with soap. I will rinse, or maybe I'll just wipe my hands on like a clean towel that I use while I'm cooking. But if my eggs were so contaminated that cracking an egg puts salmonella all over my hands, I have a bigger problem because my eggs are really contaminated at that point. A chicken that is sick with salmonella is a very, very sick chicken. And anybody who's taking care of that chicken would notice that. So our eggs come from a good, healthy source. I would be comfortable eating these raw, and a raw chicken egg has no bacteria that's harmful to humans, no pathogens that are harmful to humans. So I'm not worried about, you know, I don't consider cracking an egg and the egg getting on my hand. I'm about to eat this egg. It's not like, you know, I just scooped after the dog or something, then I have to wash my hands with soap, but I wasn't going to eat that. That's the difference. So if I'm preparing a steak and I turn it over with my fingers because I just season the one side and I want to season the other, or maybe I'm putting it in the skillet or something, I'm not going to wash my hands with soap after that. I might rinse my hands because I don't want to, you know, drag anything around. But my steak better be clean enough to where that would not make me sick because I'm about to eat this, you know, medium rare. Chicken, different story. And the reason for that is just simply that poultry is different than beef. Much more likely to, even if the chicken itself was healthy, the meat could harbor bacteria. So if I do handle the chicken, then I do wash. And after I'm done handling cooking with the chicken, I sanitize the counters completely. So I'm saying do it when necessary, but when it's not necessary, you know, don't wash too much, don't overdo it. The body is really good at self-regulating. I'm not saying to only wash every year and a half, or maybe longer. I mean, this lady we heard about, she said she had not washed her hands in a year and a half. I think she meant washed with soap, but she said not washed in a year and a half. Yep. You want it so raw, it's still definitely there's a time and a place, and the Bible speaks of soap. It speaks of Fuller soap, which is laundry soap basically. So I'm not saying not to use it, but I'm saying be as minimal and as intentional about it as possible. And it's kind of the same approach I take with medicine, that in general I try to stay away from medicine when not necessary. I don't just, you know, treat every fever, treat every sniffle. But when you need medicine, I want to actually go to the doctor and get real medicine. If my child is struggling to breathe because they have allergy-induced asthma, I'm not going to give them something homeopathic. I'm going to give them a steroid. Now, if they haven't had an asthma attack, they're not having an acute asthma attack, then yes, roll out the homeopathics, roll out the natural stuff to prevent it. But once you have an acute problem, you know, I don't mess around with that. That's when I bring out the stuff that's reserved for such situations. Another example would be antibiotics. It is extremely, extremely rare that we use antibiotics. I would say that in the 22 years of parenting 12 kids, definitely in the single digits that any of us 14 have used antibiotics altogether. So I know I had to do a course after I had intrauterine surgery with Boaz, so that was 10 years ago. And it's just standard. You have surgery, we just entered your uterus to perform surgery. Yes, you're going to take antibiotics because you don't want to get infection. That's a no-brainer. But every time there's an ear infection, I don't go for the antibiotics. So I think between all 14 of us in the last 22 years, we've done less than, like in the single-digit amount of times that we've done antibiotics. So I'm not against the antibiotics. I'm against overusing them. I'm not against soap like this lady, but I am against overusing any of these things. So my skincare routine is use water when possible, wash less. Yes, don't shower every day. That's really not good for your skin. Don't wash your hair every day. Do brush your teeth every day. Wash your laundry. Like I am a firm believer in wearing a clean outfit every day, fresh outfit. But the pajamas at night, if you only wore them to bed, you know, you can rewear them the next night as long as you get dressed first thing in the morning. If it went out of the house with you, don't wear it to bed because you don't want to bring in bed bugs or lice or pinworm eggs, anything like that. So if it went out of the house, it should never touch your bed. So I guess you would say that my approach is kind of like a minimal but common sense, and when needed, use the actual products that work when you actually have to fix a problem, if that makes sense. Now, if anybody has any questions, because I feel like I've just kind of rambled a little bit disjointed, if you want to leave those in the comments, I would welcome that. I'm going to try to see. Christmas card from the Netherlands. I know I sent 2 to the Netherlands, so if you don't get yours, let me know. Rewashing the laundry, sorry. Yep, bleach in the bath, and that's really, really good. Windex, okay. Ammonia, dish soap, and water. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because it is right. It's not good about killing germs. Yes, that's why. BioClean, yep. Okay, Desiree, vinegar in the washing machine for the rinse cycle. It helps get out funk. It doesn't really help with cleaning things. So it's not the same as bleach at all. Bleach, I almost never use bleach in a laundry, virtually never, because it'll destroy it. But you can get some color safe detergents that are like a free and clear that get stains out without having weird funky ingredients. So I rarely use bleach. The only time I use bleach is if like there's a white shirt, which we don't have any of those because I don't allow white. I mean, it's not that I don't allow it. I really discourage it, and I don't buy it for my little kids because it's impossible to keep white in the desert. But if there is a white thing and it has a stain, then I might spot clean with bleach. That's pretty much too. So Jana, the trick with the smell is borax in the wash with the detergent and vinegar in the rinse. Bon Ami is good. I don't find it effective enough. Barkeeper's Friend is another really good product for kitchen stainless steel. Yep, the estrogen mimicas, xenoestrogen. Yep, that's what I learned today. So the one caveat I want to give is that if you have older kids, like teenagers, they still live at home, but you know, they know everything, so they don't listen. This might not be a hill worth dying on. So a lot of the things that I personally practice and that I implement for the little kids just goes right over the teenagers' heads, and I cannot, I'm not willing to have a fight over that. So they use products that I would not use. I tell them I wouldn't use them. I don't buy it for them. They have to buy those themselves. But It's not something that I suggest or recommend dying on that hill on. There are a few lines that I try to draw, like the fake fragrance, like when they want to spray perfume, and I just break out and I'm like, just don't do it. Or I don't let them paint their nails in the house because the fumes from that make me sick. But, and typically, with older kids, you kind of have to pick your battles because, you know, they don't want to do things the way that we do them. What's for dinner at the Anderson home? This is a really good question. And I forget what it is. Oh, no, I know. It's turkey pot pie. Turkey pot pie, because I was going through my freezer last week, and I found in there that I had a little bit of turkey gravy that was left over, I think, after Thanksgiving. So I froze it, and a little bit of turkey, like turkey meat that I'd frozen. And then I also came across, you know, I always keep frozen mixed veggies, and I was like, turkey pot pie for dinner. So that's what's for dinner. Now that reminds me of a blessing I want to tell you about. That's been a huge blessing, and part of the reason why I was able to go to Germany last year is that about 2 years ago in January, I made a connection with a gentleman here in town where we live, and he works for or with a food bank. I'm not sure. But I made a connection with him, and basically they always have more food to give out than they can that they can even give out. 1 second. I need to. And when he found out that my husband is a pastor, he has been hooking us up with free food. And this is free food from major retailers like Costco, Sprouts, Trader Joe's. This is literally the exact stuff that we would be buying anyway. And it varies every week, but on Wednesdays, like today, I'm gonna do this after I'm done here. They just load us up, and then I take the food to church and I give it out of church, but you know, we also take stuff for ourselves. And it has been such a huge blessing, because our grocery budget, I mean, you're going to be shocked, but I mean, if we were to buy everything, and when we were buying everything for a family our size, it's typically around $2,500 to $3,000 per month. Now, maybe you find that shocking. Maybe that just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, but that only works out to, oh, Prairie, thanks for joining. I just got a notification that you joined. So, like, if you've worked that out of how much it is per person, per meal, it's really not expensive, but that's still, so with this free food that we've been getting, I've probably saved at least $1,000 per month on the groceries. Maybe some months even closer to $1,500. So almost slashing our grocery budget in half. And if I can save $1,000 on groceries a month, because groceries are our biggest expense by far, then that really adds up, and that really has been such a huge blessing. And it's literally the stuff that we would be getting anyway. So I was going through the freezer last week when we got this, because I got just oodles of free grass-fed organic steaks, organic chicken. Like, there was so much good stuff. So I typically just keep enough for a week for our family, and I take the rest to church because it is there week after week. And it has been such an incredible blessing, and I just give God all the glory for that, because it was, I don't even know what we would do without that now. And it is really, really, really great stuff, and it has been a huge blessing to us. So that kind of determines also what we're eating. And because I got so much stuff last week, I had to go through the freezers. It kind of gave me ideas of things to do. Now, SS asks, could I do a live on parenting teenagers? Which hills you should die on? And you have a teenager who knows everything. Well, that's every teenager. I can't do a live on parenting teenagers, because even though I'm currently on my 6th teenager, this sounds scary, and 2 have now graduated to being 20s. So I currently only have, do I have 4 teenagers? John, Miriam, Rebecca, Annie, I have 4 teenagers right now. 3 of them live at home. All right, kids, do your schoolwork, please. I still haven't figured out. Just ask them. If you ask them, they will tell you that I know absolutely nothing about raising teenagers, and they're probably right. And like I said, I try to stay away from parenting things because there's probably a whole lot of people out there who are better parents and more patient and do greater with kids. So I might not be the best person. And it seems like all the channels on YouTube that give parenting advice, like that 8 Passengers channel, I watch too much true crime, I guess. You know, I don't have the answers, and if I had them and I share them, I feel like I jinx myself. So I would say there's a lot of personal convictions that we have as parents, and I don't enforce those on the kids. The things that we enforce are like clear-cut sins. And even then, this is probably terrible parenting advice, but even then sometimes I'm just let me be blind to it, and then I don't have to deal with it. Like, I don't like my kids to come to me and like tattle about their siblings, because now I have to deal with it. Whereas if I didn't know about it, you know, they can at least tell themselves that I didn't deal with it because I didn't know about it. I don't want to come down on everything they do, because that's not how God handles things, and I don't want to handle things like that. But you know, it's really difficult, and my kids are listening, so they're probably snickering or taking notes or whatever. But it's really difficult, because what I see a lot with my husband being in the ministry, I really only see one of two extremes. People whose parents were very strict, not even very strict, they say their parents were very strict. Their parents had standards and expectations, and these people gripe that their parents were too strict. My parents were too strict, and now they have to just go to, you know, recovering fundamentalists or something like that, nonsense like that. And they gripe that their parents were too strict, and now they hate God. Or then there's the other ones who are like, my parents, they're such liberals, and maybe they're even not saved, and they were just way too lenient. And basically they blame their parents for the fact that they had a sinful youth because their parents allowed it. And basically, as parents, we're expected to walk this knife's edge where you're not too lenient and you're not too strict. And it's impossible to do that. Everybody's going to mess up. So I don't know what's best for your kids, because those are your kids and you will know what's best for them. And personally, I tend to be more of a strict parent, even when it's not popular. But I think that there has to be some wiggle room of not just enforcing our preferences on the kids. For example, one of my preferences, and I don't think this is a moral issue, but I don't wear makeup. I don't think it looks better. I mean, now that I'm getting older, actually, I'm starting to think that maybe it would look better, you know? I don't know. These wrinkles, it seemed like a better choice in my 20s when my complexion was better. But I just don't like it. I don't have time for it. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of money. I think the products are unhealthy. I think it's just a waste of all resources. I've never been that into... It's not practical, and I'm very practical. Thank you, Prairie. But I don't enforce it on my girls. My girls are like the exact opposite. They are like so dolled up. I mean, one of my daughters put on makeup today just to wear in the house. Like, we're not going anywhere. We're all sick at home, and she's wearing makeup, and it's like, why? You know? But I don't forbid it. I mean, I might comment on it. I might roll my eyes. I will roll my eyes. So that, I'm not going to die on that one. They want to wear deodorant with aluminum. Okay, whatever. Buy it yourself. I'm not buying that stuff. Things like that. But then there's other issues that I do have to enforce, and that I'm not a fan of. I'm not going to make them popular with the kids. But I will say, of my kids who've come on the other end, you know, they appreciate the fact that it wasn't just a free for all. Okay. Jenna, you threw me for a loop there. You said something about, wait, gray hair. Is my hair turning gray? I'm starting to wonder. I didn't think it had yet. I'm going to be 45 in March. I don't think I'm going gray yet, but maybe you're seeing something that I'm not seeing. I think the good with blonde is that it's not going to look... Did you say I have gray hair?
No, I said not as much as that.
Not as much as that? There's no gray in my hair. Is there gray in my hair?
No.
Not as much as that. My husband is turning gray. No, I'm hoping to stay like this. See, on the inside, I still feel like the 22-year-old when I had Solomon. Now he's 22 and he's getting married. I still feel the same on the inside. Then I look in the mirror And I realized, no, you need all this. See, there's a reason why these things exist. I used to not understand why people messed with their parents so much. It makes sense now. So anyway, oh, your hair turned white from stress. Oh my goodness. And you're a stay-at-home mom now. Okay. All right, this has turned into more awkwardness about my appearance. Well, for those of you who are not members, thank you for joining, and I hope to see you next week. Okay, there's a good question. See, Kristen asked me a question about food. I can't just let that go. And no Prairie, he's asleep. He naps at this time, which is why I do the video at this time, because he's quite the little boy. He is. I went to the playground with him this morning, and the entire time he had one thing that he was doing. He would go to the very edge of the playground, go on the fence, and try to stand on the sidewalk as close to traffic as he could. So it wasn't too bad. But man alive, he is just a tease. So yeah, and then the meal plan. See, if you ask me a question about food, I'm going to talk about food because I love food and I love cooking. Flying by the seat of our pants right now because we are getting so much food every week and it's not always predictable. Although I will say that because I've been doing it for 2 years, I pretty much have everything in stock to where I can meal plan. But typically what I do is at the beginning of the week, I make a meal plan for 5 breakfasts and 5 dinners. And that takes us through the week because sometimes we end up eating out or maybe something comes up or typically it ends up being 5 of the meals on the plan. And the dinners we also eat for lunch the next day. So by planning breakfast and dinner, that also plans the lunches because whatever we have for dinner today is also going to be tomorrow's lunch, if that makes sense. Because for lunch I always make enough to where we have double and then we eat the next half for lunch the next day so I don't have to cook during a homeschool morning. And yeah, so pretty much by the seat of our pants because of the food situation. Advice for dating or potentially dating a man in the ministry. Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really have any advice. Just make sure, I guess I would just make sure that he's truly interested in pursuing you, not pursuing somebody who he thinks would make a good ministry mate. Like, oh, she's great because she brings XYZ to the table. Make sure that they're actually interested in you, not what you bring to the table as far as a ministry mate. And just realize that you might be in the public eye more than you are willing to be or signed up to be. And look into your life. And if you're not cool with that, that might be difficult. Anyway, and it opens you up to criticism, which is often warranted and accurate. And, if you're thin-skinned and sensitive, that might not be good for you. That might really get to you if people point out your true, real flaws and it's accurate, it's kind of forces you to have a mirror in your face and it's not always nice. But I would say the benefits and the blessings of being in the ministry outweigh the challenges. It's like with parenting. It's difficult, it has its challenges, but it outweighs, the blessings outweigh them. Anyway, I would love to keep chatting, but my kids keep calling me and I have to go get the food. So for those of you that are members, thank you so much. I will see you back here next Wednesday, Lord willing. I will talk about the wedding. And for those of you who are not, thank you for joining. I would love it if you join the sponsorship. That will help send us to Germany sooner because yes, I've lived here 22 years and I'm still homesick. No Faith, I do not think that she does. All right, thank you guys. Talk to you next week. God bless you all.